Hey, it's Liam Killen. You guys know why we're here. We're going to take a look at these glorious mics today. The comparison is between these two mics here. So this is the Fifine K678 and this is the Slate Digital ML1. I've also added a third mic, the Shure Sm7b, which is like right in between these two guys in terms of price range. There's quite a few mic comparisons on YouTube, but these two little outsiders here, those are very new mic models. Being primarily a drummer, I've gone through my fair share of mics. The ones that I've held on to for my current setup are the Shure Sm7b, which is $399, and the extremely innovative Slate Digital ML1, which is currently $799. This is the Fifine K678, which is $75.99. People seem to be a little bit confused over how to pronounce this company, as I'm not sure if it's Fifine or Fifine. If at any point in the video you're feeling like purchasing one of these mics, I've left the purchase link in the description. I'll give you a little bit of background for each of these mics. Okay, so about the Fifine, this one right here. I've detached it from the cute little stand that it comes with, and it also comes with an adapter, so you can put it on any kind of mic stand, which is great. This is a new model, and I'm definitely pushing the limits and workflow of this mic. It's primarily meant to be used for things like streaming, or maybe if you're making a YouTube video and you want better audio quality. Good option. And today we're gonna find out if it's also useful for recording instruments. I have a feeling that it is. And so if you're well versed and just starting out and you're looking for a mic for both of these things, content creation and also for instruments, this might be a good option for you. I'm just really interested in how it's gonna compare to these two guys, which are professional quality instrumental mics. And we're about to find out. About the Sm7b, this is like a secret weapon in many studios, although it's not really much of a secret anymore, but it still kind of is, in a way. It's been around for a very long time and it just makes for a great all-around mic. I see it used a lot for vocals. It's very directional, meaning that if you're singing right into it and there's other noise happening in the background, chances are you're not gonna hear that noise. It's also a very common podcast microphone. Cut to the biggest podcasts around. It seems that they're all consistent with the Shure Sm7b. It's like they're all copying each other. How unoriginal. Just like the rest of us, I've also seen this mic used countless times in professional studios. I mean, if Dave Grohl uses it, it doesn't really add too much character to whatever it is that you're recording. It's very dry, but still with a good amount of body. And now the ML1. Beep. So this is the ML1. I bought this mic a few years ago and it really did change my workflow. It rocked my world. The mic itself is notoriously ultra clean and very crisp, but the game-changing part is the software that it comes with, where you're able to choose different software emulations of the most iconic mics around. This is insanely useful, but at the same time, it's a little bit dangerous because it's easy to go in circles. You kind of just have to commit sometimes. But still, just having that option is, yeah, like I said, it's a game changer. I will definitely be showing you examples of this later in the video. Okay, so first I'm just gonna start off by talking into each of these mics. Mic check 1, 2, this is Liam, talking into the mic. Mic check 1, 2, this is Liam, talking into the mic. Mic check 1, 2, this is Liam, talking into the mic. It's pretty clear to me right away that the Fifine just isn't quite as balanced as the other mics. There's a lot of like really honky low mids going on, which really stand out in the comparison. As I mentioned before, this example really confirms that the Shure Sm7b is quite flat. It doesn't have too much character to it, still with some body. This is why people choose this mic. They know what they're gonna get right away. Compared to the Fifine, it's not honky in the least. The low mids aren't very prevalent. That's the frequency that gives that honky sound. And then we have the Slate ML1, which is pretty magical if you ask me. After looking at the EQ, it has a similar amount of mids as the Fifine, but it's just supported by very crisp highs. Sort of just balances everything out. With this example, it's pretty much exactly what you'd expect from the price range of each of these mics. The lower the price, the lower the quality is. But that might change with some other examples. Let's try the same thing with acoustic guitar. At this point, for the rest of these examples, I'm gonna add a tiny bit of compression as well as a bit of reverb just to make it sound better. This is also a great way to see how plugins react to different mics. Okay, so I find it really interesting how when you change instruments, the results pretty much change completely. I'll just give you one quick general tip about recording acoustic guitar. First thing is I like to be about a foot away from the mic that's recording me, otherwise it gets a little bit too boomy. And also I like to point the neck of the guitar at the mic rather than the body of the guitar. This way you really avoid getting that boomy sound that comes from the body of the guitar. And this tip is especially useful if you're playing with your fingers rather than a pick. You know, just a little quick tip for you. So unlike the last example where the quality of the results are very clear, these ones are a little bit blurred because it really depends on what you're looking for. I actually really like the results of the Fifine. It sounds like a guitar being played in a room, like a room mic. I noticed that as I stepped further away from the mic, it actually sounded better, which makes total sense because that's exactly what the mic's used for. It's a mic meant for streamers or content creators who are talking in a room. They're not necessarily talking right up next to the mic. Once again though, those low mids and even the low frequencies were just much too prevalent in the mix, and that's even after my awareness of pointing the neck at the mic. Obviously this is not a very big deal because if you're using a DAW, you could just EQ that out pretty easily. The Sm7b once again sounds very flat and dry, which is exactly what you'd expect from it. It's a mic that gives you a lot of room to work with in post-production as well. Something to think about. There's definitely a problem that really stuck out to me for this example. If you're recording quieter instruments like maybe a passed acoustic guitar, this leaves a risk of hearing hiss or noise in your quieter tracks. You could solve this problem by buying what's called a cloud lifter. The only thing is that's an added expense. Something to think about. Finally, the Slate Digital ML1, just completely knocking it out of the park. Ultra clean, super crispy, very hi-fi sounding. Cleanest and crispiest signal of the bunch. Okay. As I mentioned before, this mic comes with some pretty groundbreaking software. Here's what I'm talking about. This is called the Virtual Mix Rack. We're not going to get totally into this. We're just going to look specifically at these mics. So they're called classic tubes, and then you have a selection of mics to choose from here. So let's check out the mix. This one's got some soul. I like this. This one's pretty hi-fi. That's the soul one. I really like the FG12, so we'll go with that one. This alone is like a level 1000 game changer, and it's the main reason why I bought this mic. It changes everything. For the last example, I'm gonna sing something. Oh, don't you save me from hanging on. I tell myself what we had is gone. And after all that I put you through, I get knocked out like I never knew. Damn. This example of the Fifine doesn't really compete because once again, those honky low mids. Although once again, this is something that you could easily EQ out. We put you to the test today, buddy. You did a great job. For me, the Sm7b and the ML1 were great for this example, but consistently the ML1 has been crispier and more hi-fi sounding throughout. But there's a few other things I wanted to talk about in terms of mics and budgets. I think that this video is a pretty good example of mic prices reflecting their quality. One thing that I noticed though when you get into higher range mics is that the higher the price of the mic, the lower percentage of quality increase. For example, the Slate Digital ML1 is about twice the price of the Shure Sm7b, but I wouldn't say that it's double the quality of that mic. So when you get into like extremely expensive mics, that quality increase gets smaller and smaller and smaller. It just makes me feel like the price you're paying is getting more and more ridiculous. The point I'm trying to make there is that 99.99% of people won't know the difference at that point, or they just won't even care. You don't need super expensive mics and equipment to make solid music. And I have another example that just says it all. I know of a world-class musician who was traveling on a plane and he was just testing out scratch vocals through his iPhone for a song. Those exact scratch vocals made it onto the track on a platinum selling album. This is obviously an exceptional case, but still. All that being said, having a high quality mic in your collection will definitely work in your favor and it'll inspire you. Don't let your budget slow you down. It's really about finding what works in your budget and also, just as importantly, what works in your workflow. Maybe you're a streamer and content creator who just needs a mic and is dabbling with making music, in which case the Fifine might be perfect for you. Maybe you just want a solid mic that sounds good on everything. In that case, the Shure Sm7b is right for you. Or maybe you want to spend a little bit extra for that extra flexibility and super crisp hi-fi quality, in which case, go with the Slate Digital ML1. You're gonna choose. Who you gonna choose? If you're interested in purchasing any of these, I've left the purchase link in the description. And yeah, that's it. Hopefully this gave you a better idea of what you're looking for. Thank you so much for watching. If you're into this sort of content, please make sure to like, subscribe, maybe share, do all the things, and stay tuned. I put out videos consistently every week. I've also left a link to all of my playlists, which is organized by instruments that I use or feature, and just general things that I'm up to. Check it out, maybe there's something there that you're interested in. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.